So my name is Magali Garcia, and I was born in France. That's why I have a French name. But I was raised in Spain, so I'm mostly Spanish. And I'm an animation director and animator. And I've been freelancing for about 6 years. And I work mostly remotely, sometimes with a team and sometimes alone. First things I did were short films with friends. I come from a fine arts background, so when I was studying, I did these short films. There were short, low cost short films, and I did the drawing tasks like storyboarding. I did some concepts, and I also built the set designs and the props. Um, Later in my last years of fine arts, I combined my education with some filmmaking education, like cameras, lighting, these kind of things. And this led me to an internship in a very big VFX studio in Madrid. And that's where I discovered computers, because they were not in my radar. I thought I was going to do something with my hands, and I discovered I really liked it. And then later I discovered motion design and animation, and I thought it was perfect because it was the combination of my hand drawn passion, and yeah, I could tell stories and develop concepts through the animation. So I thought it was perfect for me. That's when I started. So I didn't have any mentors when I started, and this is something I could have benefit from, because I didn't know what to do, and I could have benefit from some direction when I started. But I had lots of colleagues and great people who gave me their time and showed me how they worked. So when I worked at VFX Studio, for example, I had friends who showed me how a software worked, and they showed me their tricks. I met very generous people, and I'm very grateful about it. When I decided to go freelance, I had already a bunch of friends who were freelancing before me, so they showed me like the business part of being a freelancer, which was very helpful. And now I I don't think I have direct mentors, because I guess a mentor is someone you know, right? But I do have lots of role models. I'm always very curious about the how other artists work, and I try to attend festivals like Motion Plus Design, and I watch a lot of masterclasses, podcasts, interviews, and there's many artists now that are very generous, and they share their thoughts, not only tricks or technical things. They share personal things, like how do they present ideas to clients, or how do they deal with stress, or well, I really enjoy watching all these things, and I think they are my mentors. I don't know them, most of them, but I learn from them. I didn't study animation or motion design, so I learned. I teach myself when I was when I was working at VFX studios. I didn't have any motion designers around, but yeah, I started my days with my coffee and motionographer. So I learned through trial and error, doing tutorials, and I just took any opportunity in my work to try and do some tricks, some new things I was learning, or try a new style that I wanted. So, for example, if there was a production that hadn't like a clear leadership, I took this opportunity to try and do some things, and I learned working. I really did very bad animations at the beginning, and yeah, I some of them were broadcasted, but yeah, when I first began, I had very poor understanding of motion design, but I always try to do it at work. So I have been very cautious with my personal work, but with client work, when there was a client checking it and there was a deadline, I just did it and made things happen. Yeah. So I use Adobe Suite. I think it's called Adobe Suite. I used mostly After Effects and Photoshop. I used a bit of Illustrator sometimes. And for cell animation, I use Animate, Photoshop if I need to have some texture. And I also use Rough Animator on my iPad because I like to change like the environment. I like to animate anywhere. And I also use for 3D. I use Cinema 4D. I'm using Marvelous Designer now for the clothing, and I think that's it. Yes, so when I first started animation, drawing was the only tool I had. So I think it was really helpful for me. I was comfortable throwing lines here and there. So it was easy for me to start animating and it was kind of natural. I don't think illustration skills are necessary for some kind of motion design, but if you are doing cell animation, it was really helpful for me. I learned in working in teams, and I really enjoyed. But at certain point, it was important for me to be alone by myself because I learned I had to mimic other people's styles many times at work, and I also was very used to work under someone direction. So at certain point, I lost a bit track of what I wanted to do and my own interests. So it was very important for me to get some time alone, all by myself, and look for my own style and my personal voice. So now I guess I like both. Sometimes I like to work alone, and when I get a bit lonely, I like to work in a team. So I like to switch. So I don't think I had a great connection with my Spanish culture or my French background. I really think I was more influenced with British culture or with US culture. So I was a huge fan of American movies, and the music I listened to was in English. So most of when I have an idea in my mind, if I have a dialogue or something, I think of it in English. So yeah, I'm a bit embarrassed to say this, but I don't think I was connected to my culture. I also think that the fact that motion design was not very developed in Spain made me look outside, and I believe this is changing now because I recently moved to the south of Spain, and there's a deeper sense of belonging there, something that I was not familiar with. And yeah, I recently started to look at my own culture and listen to music and Spanish art. So I suppose I I I will write in Spanish because it would make much more sense. I Need was my first short film, and I really like it. It was very important for me because um, I tried to do personal things for a long time before doing it, and I had lots of unfinished projects. But this one I took it seriously and I finished it, and yeah, it means a lot because of that. The story, well, like the text speaks about, the short film speaks about dissatisfaction, about being constantly searching something else, um, and I think it is quite personal. So I have this habit of when I achieve something, even if it took a lot of effort, somehow it is not enough quite soon. So I'm always looking for something else. And I think this can applies to many things in our society, but um, I was not thinking about it when I did it. When I did it, I thought about like laughing at myself a bit, laughing at this part that takes these things too seriously. So I tried to make the tone of the short film a bit funny with the music and the editing. So yeah, I think it was like a kind of a portrait, like laughing at myself. So this project was it is a music video. The singer is Tom Rosenthal, and I this project came because I contacted him. I really am a huge fan of his music, and I wanted to do a music video for a long time. So I just asked him, and he sent me a song, and I did it with my partner. So it's a collaboration project with Nacho Velasco, who also does motion design, and he's a 3D artist. So we did it together. I guess the result is kind of something I wouldn't have done alone, and neither did he. So it we didn't know if it was going to work because we mixed a lot of things, and but I really like the result. It's a mixed media video with lots of funny characters, and I like this project very much. Mm, I think I am still developing my own style. I don't know if I'm going to be this kind of director who works with a color palette or everything is all the time the same. I don't think so, but I think I'm going somewhere with the mixed media things that I'm doing. But if you mean by mixing my style, if you mean mixing the 3D and 2D and these kind of things, um, I actually mix them like if it was a puzzle. Like I think I do hand-drawn animation, and I decide to put some 3D elements on it, and then I also mix a lot with pictures and with live action, and I like the result, and I like that it's not perfect. I like that you can see which elements are 3D and which elements are live action, and it's pretty obvious when you see a frame. So I just combine all the elements together. Doing personal work for me was very important because it led to some commercial work that was more interesting for me. So I think when you do personal work, you experiment, and you can try things that you want to do, and eventually a client is going to call you because they like this style. So personal work for me has been very important. When I first started freelancing, I had work, but the work I was having was very random. It was like I knew the industry and I had very many different skills. So clients called me because of that skills, but it was really very random. So when I started doing my personal work, I kind of give some direction to my career, and started to get commercial work that I really enjoyed. So I think in the future maybe commercial work would be very close to my interests, and I would really enjoy. I'm enjoying it now, so I guess commercial and personal work would be very close in the future. I'm not the kind of person who benefits from a 9 to 5 routine. So I like to change a lot. When I'm doing something for a month or 2 months, I need to break something or change something to keep balanced and happy. So it really depends on the project. If I work with a team, I get to like match my timeline with them to be able to connect and work together. And when I do some sketching or thinking, or if I'm doing animation, I can manage my time like I want. And I really like this part. I really like this flexibility. So yeah, for me the important thing is keeping changing all the time, and this makes me enjoy a lot and have fun all the time. My hobbies are drawing and animation. So yeah, I guess I tried to make a living out of my passion, and I did it. I really love what I do. So animation for me is the perfect form of expression because it has everything. It has music that can get to your emotion very directly. It has text, so you can express very complex thinking through animation, and with visuals you can with animation you can express anything you want in a million ways. So yeah, it's the perfect expression form. Yes, I want to experiment with many things. I really like to learn new tricks and things. So I think I don't have enough. I need more lifetimes to do all the things I want to do. But yeah, right now I'm very into character animation in 3D. So I'm learning. I want to learn a bit of zebras too to model, and I want to learn Substance for texturing. In the future, I want to do more live action, and yeah, I want to get better at illustration too, because I feel last years I was very focused on animation and I neglected a little bit my illustration skills, and I want to take it back. And eventually, I really would like to do something narrative, but with a team, because the things I've done, the narrative things I've done are quite simple because I work alone. But I really would like to do something with a big team and having animators and designers and actors. And I think when I first started working, this was something that wasn't in my mind. But after working in different studios and working in different teams and being well, working in different projects, it really was impossible not to notice that I was the only woman. I was all the time surrounded by men. Sometimes in a big team there was another one, but it was me and the other woman. All were men. So I really appreciate when people in charge like take this notice this huge disproportion and do something about it, because I think things are changing, but we can make this change faster. So for example, it happens to me too when I have to sometimes I have to gather a team, and if I look to the people I know, I've always been working with men, right? So the normal thing would be like the contacts I have are all men. So if I want to have a more diverse team, I have to expand my radar a bit and look somewhere else. Like that, I would have a more diverse team. So I really think I really appreciate when people take notice this. And also, there's other thing that happened to me as a woman, and I don't think this applies only for animation and motion design. This applies for everything, but I think it's important to have to see people like you in like making the decisions, like running things. And I think this works when you are like a little kid. So if you are a little kid and you don't see yourself there, when you are a grown up, you think like you don't want to run things. You simply like it's difficult for you to picture yourself there. And I think well, I hope at least that a woman in her 20s can picture herself everywhere in all kinds of positions. And yeah, so I believe this is changing, but we can make change faster. I would like to thank Motion Plus Design to doing this work. It's amazing, and it's a great way to get inspired by other people. And I really appreciate the work, and I'm super honored to be here. I'm very proud, so I'm grateful. Thank you very much for inviting me.